If you've ever felt that you're capable of so much more, if you've dreamed of building a successful life filled with confidence, wealth, happiness, and purpose, then this book is for you. And today's audiobook summary is Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy, one of the most powerful success guides ever written. In the next few minutes, you'll discover proven principles that can help you unlock your true potential, master your mind, and design a life of abundance and fulfillment. Brian Tracy has spent decades studying success, and in this book, he reveals how ordinary people can achieve extraordinary results, step by step, starting exactly where they are. So, stay with me until the end, because what you're about to learn has the power to change the way you think, act, and live. And if you love exploring life-changing ideas from the world's greatest books, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Audiobook 101, where we bring you the best lessons on success, wealth, mindset, productivity, and personal growth. Now let's dive into maximum achievement and uncover the secrets to creating the life you've always dreamed of. Make your life a masterpiece. Brian Tracy's own story begins in Canada, where he grew up in a family that worked hard but often struggled with money. He witnessed financial hardships firsthand, and he even experienced the lingering shadow of the Great Depression. As a boy, he noticed the contrast between himself and other children. Many of them seemed better off, dressed more neatly, and lived more comfortably. By the time he turned 16, Brian was already asking himself a powerful question. Why do some people become wealthy and successful while others remain stuck in struggle? Over the years, Brian found his answers, and he transformed his life completely. He traveled to more than 80 countries, climbed to the top ranks of a multi-million-dollar company, and even had the honor of dining with the President of the United States. Through these achievements, he realized something profound. Every dream begins with faith in the mind. To achieve anything, you must first believe it is possible. In Maximum Achievement, Brian shares what he calls the 7 great foundations of success. These are not just habits, but guiding principles that allow a person to live fully and happily. The very first, and the most essential, is peace of mind. Without inner calm, all other success feels empty. When peace is missing, negative emotions like fear, anger, regret, and anxiety creep in, robbing us of joy. The second foundation is good health, because real success cannot exist without energy, vitality, and physical well-being. Next comes love and connection. Nurturing meaningful relationships is what gives life its deepest happiness and purpose. Financial freedom forms the 4th foundation. It doesn't mean endless riches. Rather, it is the comfort of knowing that your needs are met, that you don't have to live under constant financial stress. This freedom supports your peace of mind, your health, and even the quality of your relationships. The 5th foundation is having a clear purpose and set of principles. When you live with a sense of direction and align your life with values you truly believe in, every day gains meaning. The 6th is self-knowledge, the ability to understand who you are, how past experiences have shaped you, and what drives you forward. And finally, the 7th foundation is self-satisfaction, the inner confidence that you are moving toward your goals and that success is not just possible, but already unfolding in your life. Together, these 7 foundations form the pillars of a truly successful and fulfilled life. With them, as Brian Tracy says, you can begin to turn your life into a masterpiece. 7. Rules of mental mastery. In life, there are countless rules that guide us. some created by humans and others that exist naturally. Natural rules can be divided into two kinds: physical and mental. Physical laws are easy to demonstrate through experiments. We know that gravity pulls objects down, or that fire produces heat, because we can see and test these things. But mental laws are different. They cannot be measured in a laboratory. They can only be understood through experience, reflection, and the way they shape our lives. The first is the mental law of control. It teaches us that the more control we feel over our own life, the greater our sense of self-worth. Eleanor Roosevelt once said, "No one can make you feel inferior without your consent." When we take charge of our circumstances, whether by confronting them directly or by choosing to step away, we build confidence and inner strength. The second is the law of cause and effect. Every outcome in our lives has a cause behind it. If something in your life is creating negative consequences, you must search for its root and eliminate it. And if something is bringing joy or success, find its source and repeat it. For instance, if playing golf makes you feel alive and happy, then make it a regular part of your life. The key is to understand the link between cause and result and then use it to your advantage. The third is the law of faith. What you believe about yourself becomes your reality. If you do not truly believe in your dream, you will never find the energy, motivation, or courage to pursue it. Faith acts as fuel. It pushes you forward when nothing else does. The fourth is the law of expectations. Life rarely gives us more than what we expect. If you expect little, you will receive little. If you expect great things, you open the door for greatness to flow into your life. In this way, our expectations quietly shape our future long before it arrives. The fifth is the law of attraction. Whatever we give our attention to will naturally be drawn into our lives. Imagine two pianos placed in the same room. If you strike a note on one, the same string will vibrate in the other. In the same way, your thoughts and emotions attract people, opportunities, and circumstances that match your inner state. Think positively, and you will meet positive people. Dwell in negativity, and you will find the same reflected back at you. The sixth is the law of correspondence. The outer world is always a mirror of our inner world. Your relationships, your health, your success, they all reflect the state of your mind and emotions. When you nurture positivity inside, your external world begins to fall into harmony as well. And finally, the seventh is the law of mental equivalency. This principle tells us that our experiences are a direct reflection of our dominant thoughts. What we think about, feel, and imagine consistently will eventually take shape in our lives. In this way, thoughts are not just fleeting ideas. They are the building blocks of our destiny. These 7 laws are the keys to mastering the mind. And when you master your mind, you begin to master your entire life. The Master Program. When Brian Tracy was 21, his life looked nothing like the success story he would later become. He was living in a small, cold house, far away from his family, without a steady job and without direction. Even as he entered his 30s, things hadn't changed much. Despite working hard, he often felt stuck, isolated, frustrated, and convinced that he wasn't living anywhere near his true potential. He came across a striking idea. Most people use only a fraction of their abilities, perhaps 10% or even less. That thought stayed with him. He realized that if he could find a way to unlock his hidden potential, everything about his life could change. Brian explained this discovery through a simple but powerful equation. IA plus AA times A equals IHP. Here IA stands for inborn attributes. the natural gifts and qualities we are born with. AA refers to acquired attributes, the knowledge, skills, and abilities we pick up through learning and experience. But the most important factor is A, which represents attitude, our mental energy, outlook, and determination. When combined, these three elements determine IHP, or individual human performance. In other words, talent and skill are important, but it is attitude that multiplies everything. At one seminar, Brian heard the story of a young man who had grown up in a family of laborers. He believed his life was already written for him, so after finishing school, he too became a laborer. But deep down, he knew he was burying his ambitions. One day, he made a bold decision. He would no longer settle for a life he didn't want. He left his job, entered sales, and dedicated himself completely. At first, it was a struggle, failures, rejection, and countless obstacles. But he refused to give up. Within 5 years, this same young man was earning $1 million a year. The lesson is clear. Belief in yourself is the master program. When you change the way you see your potential, you change the direction of your entire life. Brian describes the self-concept as having 3 key parts. The first is the self-ideal, which represents the person we most want to become, the vision of our best self. The second is the self-image, the way we actually see ourselves in the present. And the third is self-esteem, which is the measure of how much we like and value ourselves. The more we respect and appreciate who we are, the higher our self-esteem becomes, and the more capable we feel of pursuing our goals. Interestingly, children are not born with this self-concept. They arrive in the world with only 2 natural traits. First, they fear nothing except falling and loud noises. And second, they speak and act with complete honesty, without worrying what others might think. Fear and self-doubt are not natural. They are learned. Children pick them up by watching others, by listening to criticism, and by absorbing the judgments of the world around them. The master program, then, is about reclaiming that natural courage and clarity we once had as children, combining it with skills and knowledge, and multiplying it through attitude. With this, we can unlock the hidden power within and rise far above what we once believed was possible. The Mastermind. One day, Brian's lawyers took him into their office to show him the typing pool where the secretaries worked. Every desk had a brand new microcomputer, and the lawyer explained that a huge investment had been made to install them. Yet despite this, productivity had actually gone down. Why? Because many of the experienced workers had left, and the new secretaries had never been properly trained. The computers were being used only as glorified typewriters. The staff worked long hours and pushed themselves hard, but without the right knowledge, their efforts achieved very little. That moment revealed a powerful truth. Success isn't only about hard work, it's about smart work. With the right training and the right approach, their productivity could have been multiplied many times over, but without it, all their energy was wasted. In the same way, our minds also need proper training. Just like those computers, we carry inside us an incredible machine with unlimited potential. But if we don't learn how to use it, we will never achieve the results we're capable of. The mind is made up of 2 parts, the conscious and the subconscious. The conscious mind is like the driver. It notices, compares, analyzes, and makes decisions. It doesn't actually store memory. Instead, it recognizes patterns from what we already know. Imagine crossing the street. If you hear the roar of an approaching car, your conscious mind immediately identifies the sound. Next, It compares it with past experience. You know cars are dangerous when moving fast. Then comes analysis. You quickly evaluate the situation. And finally, decision. You step back onto the sidewalk instead of crossing. This process happens in seconds, but it shows how the conscious mind guides your choices. The subconscious mind, however, is different. It is vast, powerful, and filled with an endless memory bank. It accepts whatever the conscious mind impresses upon it, whether true or not. This is known as the law of subconscious activity. Whatever you repeatedly think, believe, or imagine, with your conscious mind, sinks deep into the subconscious and becomes part of your reality. For example, if you suddenly decide you want a yellow sports car, you will begin to notice yellow sports cars everywhere, on the road, in advertisements, even parked in your neighborhood. They were always there, but your subconscious now filters reality to bring them to your attention. The conscious and subconscious mind are always linked, constantly shaping what we see, how we act, and ultimately, what we achieve. The lesson is clear. Your mind is the greatest tool you will ever own. But like any tool, it must be trained, guided, and used with intelligence. Hard work without direction leads to exhaustion. Smart use of the mind leads to transformation. The master skill. Human beings are naturally driven by goals. First we set them, and then step by step we move toward achieving them. Our diligence, how determined we are, often decides how far we go. Yet many people never reach their full potential. They make plans to improve their lives, but they hesitate to act. Some are paralyzed by the memory of past failures, while others are held back by the fear of what people will think. But here's the truth. Your goals are deeply personal. They belong to you. Share them only with those who will encourage and support you, perhaps a mentor, a spouse, or a trusted friend, but never allow the judgment of others to decide the size of your dreams. One of the greatest obstacles to progress is fear of failure, but history shows us that failure is not the opposite of success. It is a necessary part of it. Think of Thomas Edison. When asked why he kept working after 5,000 failed experiments, he famously replied that he had not failed at all. He had simply discovered 5,000 ways that did not work. Each setback brought him closer to the solution. That is the kind of passion and persistence that success demands. Every defeat, if embraced with the right attitude, is a stepping stone toward victory. When you live with goals, you keep yourself moving forward. You achieve one, and immediately a new vision rises before you. This cycle of dreaming, striving, and achieving keeps the fire of ambition alive. And as long as you can hold the picture of your dream clearly in your mind, your actions will naturally begin to align with it. Brian calls this process the master plan, the ultimate skill for achievement. It begins with a simple wish, the desire to see your dreams fulfilled. That wish must then become a belief, a deep conviction that your goals are possible. From there, you bring them to life by writing them down, placing them in front of you where they cannot be ignored. You think about the rewards they will bring, you commit to starting, and you set a clear deadline. You also prepare yourself for the road ahead. Identify the obstacles, gather the knowledge you need, and seek the help of those who can guide you. With that foundation, you create a plan of action and fix in your mind a vivid picture of what success will look like when it arrives. And finally, you take action, not once, but again and again until you get there. This is the master skill of life, the ability to set clear goals and follow them relentlessly. With each step, With each small victory, you shape your future. The dream begins in your imagination, but it becomes real only through action, persistence, and unwavering faith in yourself. The master decision. Most of us live with excuses. We tell ourselves it's too risky, too difficult, or too late to step out of our comfort zone. But the truth is simple. Excuses never build a future. If even one person in the world has faced the same challenges and still reached their destination, then our excuses hold no power. What truly matters is not the obstacles, but the decision to take responsibility for our own life. Responsibility is the foundation of freedom. Some people accept it fully, while others avoid it altogether. Only a strong and healthy mind can embrace responsibility in the right way, because it requires courage and self-respect. When you take ownership of your choices, you also take ownership of your destiny. What often stands in the way is negativity, doubt, fear, jealousy, guilt. All of these weaken us. But the most destructive of all is anger. Anger usually begins with justification, when we convince ourselves that our reactions are right, even when they only cause harm. We find others who agree with us, and together we feed the fire of negativity. Sometimes we take things too personally, imagining that every setback or criticism is directed only at us. Over time, this pattern erodes our confidence and lowers our self-esteem. The way out is through forgiveness. Forgiveness is not about excusing what happened, nor does it mean we must continue to like or trust someone. Forgiveness is about freeing ourselves from the heavy chains of resentment. Brian Tracy suggests we begin with 3 essential acts of forgiveness. First, forgive your parents. They may have said or done things that hurt you, but in most cases, they did not realize how deeply their words or actions affected you. Carrying that pain only holds you back. Second, forgive everyone else who has wronged you. This doesn't mean you must welcome them into your life. It simply means you refuse to let their actions poison your heart any longer. And third, forgive yourself. Let go of the mistakes of the past. You are human, and every error has already taught you something valuable. This is the master decision: to release excuses, to rise above anger, and to forgive. When you do, you reclaim your power. You step forward lighter, stronger, and ready to create the life you truly deserve. The master goal. Above all else, the greatest treasure a human being can possess is peace of mind. When your mind is calm, your decisions are clear, your actions are steady, and life flows with balance. But when the mind is clouded by negative emotions, peace disappears, and with it comes suffering. Stress, fear, and unresolved anger not only disturb our happiness, they also open the door to physical illness. Countless studies have linked chronic stress to serious conditions like heart disease, strokes, ulcers, arthritis, and even cancer. Brian Tracy explains that stress usually comes from predictable sources. The first is worry. Most of what we worry about has no real foundation. Studies suggest that around 40% of worries are about things that will never happen at all. 30% are about the past, which cannot be changed. 12% are about health, often exaggerated, and 10% are about trivial matters. That leaves only 8% of worries that might actually be valid, and even then, in half of those cases, nothing can be done, which means, in truth, only about 4% of our worries deserve our attention. The rest is wasted energy. The second source of stress is living without direction. A life without clear goals is like a ship without a compass. It drifts aimlessly, often running into storms. Having no sense of purpose creates inner tension that weighs us down. A third cause of stress is leaving things unfinished. Uncompleted tasks linger in the mind like open doors, creating constant pressure until they are finally resolved. The fourth is the fear of failure. This fear paralyzes us, stopping us from even trying. Yet the only way to overcome failure is to face it, to learn from it, and to keep moving forward. Every defeat carries within it the seeds of future success, but only if we confront it with courage. The fifth cause is the fear of rejection. Many people hold back from pursuing what they want because they dread the possibility of being told no. Yet rejection is never the end. It is only a step in the process. Psychologists describe two common personality patterns when dealing with fear: confronters and evaders. In one university experiment, both types of people were connected to electrodes and given a small electric shock every minute. The evaders distracted themselves, refusing to watch the clock, pretending the shocks weren't coming. But when the experiment ended, their blood pressure and heart rate had spiked dramatically, showing just how much stress they carried inside. The confronters, on the other hand, also tried to distract themselves, but when the moment came, they faced the clock directly, braced for the shock, and accepted it. When the experiment ended, their bodies showed little change. The stress had passed through them rather than building up inside. The lesson is simple. Avoidance magnifies fear, while facing it dissolves its power. If you want peace of mind, you must confront your fears, not run from them. This is the master goal, to live with calmness at the center of your life. Because with peace of mind, you gain the strength to handle anything the world places before you. Mastering human relationships. In the modern world, especially in places like America, one of the most valuable qualities a person can have is social intelligence, the ability to connect with others. Our happiness, more than almost anything else, depends on the quality of our relationships. Money, success, and achievement matter, but without good relationships, life feels empty. A healthy personality is marked by positivity. It is seen in people who can forgive, who are easy to get along with, and who approach others with kindness rather than hostility. On the other hand, a bitter or harmful attitude is always a sign of an unhealthy mind. If you want to build relationships that last, you must cultivate the behaviors that draw people toward you rather than push them away. The first of these is harmony. When you're speaking with others, avoid constant arguing or contradiction. People naturally distance themselves from those who always want to prove they're right. Sometimes, simply smiling, nodding, and listening is more powerful than trying to win the point. Too often, relationships are lost in the heat of winning an argument. A calm explanation, or even silence, is far better than unnecessary conflict. The second quality is acceptance. Every human being longs to be accepted as they are. A smile, eye contact, and attentive body language communicate more than words. They signal that you welcome the other person, that you value them, and that you are open to connection. The third is appreciation. A simple thank you or a few words of praise can make a person feel recognized and respected. When people feel valued, they naturally warm to you. Closely linked is the fourth quality, approval. Genuine approval, especially when offered publicly, strengthens another person's self-esteem and deepens your bond with them. But remember, while praise should be shared openly, correction should always be given privately, never in front of others. The fifth way to build strong relationships is to notice and compliment the good habits or qualities of those around you. When you recognize someone's strengths, you make them feel important. And importance is one of the deepest human needs. The sixth is attention. Paying attention is one of the simplest yet most powerful gifts you can offer. When you truly listen and give your focus, you send the message. You matter. In contrast, ignoring someone creates feelings of rejection, which can quickly breed resentment. And finally, there is the principle of the boomerang. Whatever you give to others eventually returns to you. If you share kindness, you will receive kindness in return. If you spread negativity, it will come back to you as well. The energy you put into your relationships always finds its way back. Mastering human relationships is not about charm or manipulation. It's about creating genuine bonds through kindness, acceptance, appreciation, and respect. When you practice these behaviors consistently, you don't just build friendships, you build a foundation for lifelong happiness. You've just listened to the summary of Maximum Achievement by Brian Tracy, a powerful guide to unlocking your potential and creating the life you truly deserve, from mastering your thoughts and emotions, to setting clear goals, building stronger relationships, and developing unshakable self-belief. These timeless principles show us that success is never an accident. It's the result of clarity, discipline, and consistent action. Remember, every great achievement begins with a decision. The decision to take control of your life, to let go of excuses, and to believe in to rise higher than ever before. If you apply even a few of these lessons, step by step, you will move closer to your dreams and begin shaping a future that reflects your highest potential. If you enjoyed this audiobook summary, make sure to subscribe to Audiobook 101, where we bring you the best books on success, wealth, mindset, productivity, and personal growth. By subscribing, you won't miss out on the ideas that can transform your thinking and help you reach your goals faster. Thank you for listening, and until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and keep moving toward your own maximum achievement.